Hi everyone, so this is a Mesopotamian city-state, and here in the very center of the city is a ziggurat. This was the most important and sacred building to the people who lived during this time. Next to the ziggurat we have the royal palace, which is where the king and queen would live. In this building behind the ziggurat is the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, which the king of Babylon built for his wife who was missing her very lush green home. So he brought plants from her home into the Hanging Gardens here, and this was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. After the ziggurat, royal palace, and Hanging Gardens, we have the upper class section of the city, which runs all along here. Then we have the middle class, which runs right here, along with the artisans' quarter, which is back here behind the upper class. And lastly, the lower class, which are these brown buildings that run over here. And then after all of those social classes, there are the tall outer walls that run along the outside of the city. And outside of the tall outer walls that protected everyone inside the city, we have the farms that provided food for the civilizations, and 2 rivers that would run along either side of the city. So we can start over here in our city entrance. As you can see, a very grand entrance to show visitors what their city, how nice their city is. So as you enter here, there might be some nice paintings inside. And the very first thing you see is the marketplace. Here is a lower class marketplace. As you can see, they wouldn't sell very nice things for lower class citizens, because lower class citizens couldn't afford things of a higher price. So next we would have the middle class marketplace. They might sell some nice food. And lastly, the upper class marketplace, which had plenty of good weapons and nice decorations for people's homes. So as you can see, one of the very interesting things about a Mesopotamian city-state was how they organized their city by social class. These buildings right here are the lower class buildings, and they were made of thick mud walls. Here we have middle class buildings and homes that were made of clay bricks, and upper class homes that were also made of clay bricks. And we can start over here and show a lower class home. As you can see, it's not a very nice living space. People who lived here would be farmers, slaves, and laborers. They would kind of live in a circle around one courtyard, and each house here would be, maybe people who lived in these houses would be part of a family, and they would cook in their courtyard because it would help the smoke from wherever they were cooking flow out into the air rather than smoke up their homes. So here is the middle class home. People who lived here were merchants and artisans, and maybe some royal guards. Maybe some guards that would protect the city along the tall outer walls. As you can see, they have some decorations, not a lot, and they had what they needed to live, but they did not have as much as the upper class has. So, as you can see up here, we used a couple ladders to get up here, and people would use this area here as a patio to hang out. Here we might have a couple bedrooms. And houses like these in middle class would have 2 to 3 rooms, and were clearly nicer than the lower class homes and had more space. Also, in the middle class section were the artisans' quarters. And here, if you were an artisan, you would work in a shop, in an artisan shop, and sell goods. So as you can see, here there are a couple of storage spaces, and artisans might sell armor and weapons. And as you can see in here, maybe they would have a workshop in their shop as well, where they could work and build weapons, armor, and other goods for the city. So that's an artisan's quarter. And next we would have the upper class area. And the upper class area were these buildings here. As you can see, they're tall, probably have 2 floors. And people who lived here would be priests, priestess, nobles, and possibly some guards of the city. So as you can see, they have some decorations already as you walk in. Many windows and a nice dining area. They would have 2 floors a lot of the time, and 4 to 5 rooms. As you can see here, there might be a couple beds and another bedroom in here. And as you can see, it's much more decorated than the lower class and middle class homes. Next we have the royal palace, which is where the king and queen would live. It is a very grand palace and has many courtyards within it. As you can see, they would have some dyed clay bricks that were different colors, such as blue. And as you can see, as you walk in here, there are plenty of tapestries and paintings along the walls, and it looks very nice. If you are visiting the king, you might take this hallway here, and as you can see, there's a courtyard. And the throne room, which is in this room right here, would always be around in the center of the royal palace, and the king would sit here, and it's a very spacious, well-decorated room. Up these stairs here, we would have the dining room where the king would dine with his family. As you can see, it's very nice, and everything in here is well decorated. And next here we have another courtyard along with many bedrooms where the king and his family might live. As you can see, this bedroom is very large and it's very well decorated and looks very, very nice. So that's the royal palace. Next we would have the hanging gardens of Babylon. As you can see, there are terraces where trees would be built on, and fountains throughout the hanging gardens, as well as trees and flowers, all very beautiful and a very like lovely place to spend time. So here's the first floor. And then we would have the second floor over here. As you can see, it's all grass, and it has some trees over here, as well as maybe a couple of ponds. The next floor here, plenty of flowers. And the last floor here. And as you can see, there are plenty of trees throughout the entire thing, and this fountain here that runs all the way down and into the very bottom floor, and another fountain here that runs down to the bottom floor. Next, we have the ziggurat. And the ziggurat is the most important and sacred place in the city, as I said before. Each city-state had a ziggurat based off of their main god. This ziggurat is based off of the water god, And as you can see, there's water within the ziggurat. And you might enter in this floor, but as you go to the next floor, you would see a temple. And this temple is where the people would make offerings to the gods, as well as pray here. As you can see, these are some of the offerings that they might give the gods. And that's everything inside the city. Outside of the city, we have two rivers, one river over here and one river over here, that help to irrigate the farms lay outside of the city. Here's one farm outside of the city. Farmers, as I said before, were lower class citizens. If farmers worked out in these farms, they probably would not be able to live in a lower class home within the city, so they might have a home out here. As you can see, again, not a very nice living space. They might have a table and some chairs, and some beds, but other than that, it was not a very good place to live. Though they farmed a large crop, they would not have a lot to eat because so much of their crops would go to the city. And as you can see here, here's some irrigation that this water would help water the crops. And this helps, and the irrigation would flow along here to help all of the crops till the other river over here, which would run along each side of the city. And if you were a farmer who worked in a farm over here, you might be able to live inside a lower class home within the city walls because you could commute to just outside here. So there you have it. That is a Mesopotamian city-state